just now arriving, as you see, in Florida. And the White House, as he arrives, is on the defensive, as you just heard, about Benghazi. That topic is sure to come up in tonight's debate. At issue, of course, security and supposed intelligence failures. Congressman Mike Rogers chairs the House Intelligence Committee and joins me now. So, security, we have seen the cables now from Ambassador Stevens saying on August 8th in a cable called Guns of August how bad security was, asking for more bodyguards. September 10th, again warning about security. The next day, of course, the fatal attack. Security failures and intelligence analysis, a failure of analysis afterwards?
I'm not sure you can equate the two. I think on the security side, at least from the State Department's perspective, certainly didn't analyze the threat correctly. If they went ahead and denied extra coverage. And think about it, lots of threat streams going into 9/11 this year from al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. We had al-Sharia, a growing, burgeoning group that had frequently expressed they wanted to be successful in a Western target. All of that, including, by the way, not one but two strikes on that consulate within months prior to it, should have led even the newest intelligence analyst for the State Department to come to the conclusion, hey, listen, it's just a dangerous place. The ambassador doesn't feel comfortable. We need more security for them. You're not going to build a place in a couple of months, but you can beef up the ambassador's security. That clearly, to me, was a failure by the State Department to recognize that threat. Had plenty of information, plenty of intelligence to indicate.
Congressman, you're a former FBI man. First of all, the FBI couldn't even get on the ground for days and days. And now we see that this Abu Khatala, who may or may not be a suspect, some are telling me that he's bragging about his role, but in any case, he's someone you'd want to talk to. He was an eyewitness. He has not been picked up by Libyan authorities, nor by our own.
And I think it shows how deteriorated that security posture has become in and around Benghazi.
If a New York Times reporter can wander around and sit in a cafe for 2 hours with him, why can't the FBI?
Well, it's a little different when you show up with your FBI gear on. It's a little bit of a different hostile environment than it is for press and reporters, even though I think it's still dangerous for press and reporters there. It's clearly an indication that the Libyan forces are at least losing control. A lot of those militias have exerted themselves in those areas, contrary to the government mandates and the government at least attempt to gain security control. And I think that is a great example of how it had deteriorated pretty badly. This didn't happen after the attack. This took weeks to accomplish, and how they just absolutely missed that information is a bit concerning and something I think we're going to have to get to the bottom of.
Let's talk about Iran. As an experienced analyst and one who has supported the administration on some and criticized them on other issues, what was the first thing that struck you when you read on Saturday night that there were background talks, according to my reporting, to begin having talks with Iran after the election?
Yeah, I think they have mishandled the whole circumstance around Iran. They've distanced ourselves from Israel, which I think is really dangerous going into this. I think they
deny that. I mean, they say that we're closer with Israel than ever.
When they're talking about our military and intelligence,
there are joint exercises today.
Operators, yes, they're tied together. But when the Prime Minister goes to the UN General Assembly with a picture of a bomb and emphatically says, this is the trouble, what are you all willing to do to help? That's a clear signal, I think, to the administration. You need to be more clear. I happened to be in the conversation when the ambassador was less than thrilled about where the relationship was between Israel and the administration.
The U.S. ambassador.
Between Mr. Netanyahu, the U.S. ambassador, and myself. And that caused serious problems. That political rift is more serious than even the cooperation between the military and the intelligence. Because of that, they'll have to make decisions based on what they see their threat posed to Israel. So you have Egypt that has put tanks in the Sinai and has at least politically expressed an interest in doing away with the peace treaty with Israel. And we haven't really pushed, I don't think, hard enough on that. We haven't done anything to get all their tanks out of the Sinai in violation of the peace treaty. So Israel looks at it from, well, I've got problems in Egypt. They used to be a reliable partner for peace, not sure now. Hezbollah, 30,000 missiles. They are engaged in Syria. You can see that conflict spilling over into Lebanon, causes them huge problems. problems. Oh, and by the way, did we tell you, Iran seems to be pushing very aggressively for a nuclear weapon that they have publicly expressed they would use in a place like Israel. So they're under intense pressure, and the more clear communication that you can stand with our ally, a strong ally in the region, Israel, the better off both of us are. And I think that miscommunication is causing problems and may, in fact, make Israel make a decision based on their own security interests and not mutual security interests.
Congressman Mike Rogers, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll be
Thanks,
watching
Andrew.
the debate
Appreciate
with you
it.
tonight. And coming up, our foreign policy gurus, former CIA officer Bruce Riedel, the New York Times' Elizabeth Boomiller, and NBC's chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel.